Okay, we're live again. Hi, guys. Welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. This is my first episode, official episode of Conscious Conversations. I'm here with Tony Rodriguez. And I'm going to close this because this is going to be a bit annoying. And this is what first timers do. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I'm going to give you just a little framework before I introduce my guest here on where Conscious Conversations came from. So Conscious Conversations has been something that's been in my head. I've been using this hashtag and this URL for like 3 years. And basically, I get to have these beautiful conversations with people that I call light workers, healers, thought leaders, influencers, teachers, coaches, you name it, that give me these incredible insights and mindset shifts and practices on how to live a happier life in one way or the other. And Tony is one of those people. And so what I want to do with Conscious Conversations, and I want to say thank you to him for him coming on, because I've been talking about this for a while. Everybody who knows me knows this. He said, let's just do it tonight, because we were on his show last night. I'm going to introduce him in a second so you have a little more world of who he is. And we had a great conversation that could have went for much longer. So we start today. We're here tonight. This is Tony Rodriguez. Thank you so much for being here with me.
My pleasure.
He's been in personal development for 20 years. He is a life and business strategist. He's a Tony Robbins trainer. He's host of Tony Talks, which is what I was on last night, chatting about business and men and dating, and founder of Get Up and Grow, because you're going to tell us what your favorite line is and teach us what that Get Up and Grow really means today, I hope. Yeah. And so welcome. We're here together. Thank you.
Awesome. So exciting. I'm glad you decided to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and you know, get out of your comfort zone and share yourself and your story with the world.
You know, I appreciate it. And one of the things that pushed me to do this too is like I said, I have so many incredible light workers in my life that give a lot of good exercises and daily shifts. And you did that for me today. So it's totally random. Tony and I had a call really early this morning because I was just asking him a question about some insight on some business stuff. And he got on a call with me and he just was like, let's just like chat about it a little bit, and gave me an exercise that I could do on the spot instantly that totally shifted like my energy, my perspective, got me into the right mindset. He was just doing what he does. But it really landed on me like I should really bring this to people, because I get messages just like you do, I'm sure, all the time, which is like, what's that like spiritual personal development woo-woo stuff you're doing these days? Because of everything that's going on. So let's just get into it. What shall we talk about? Are you open to doing one of these mindset shifts with us tonight?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you want to listen. This conversation can go wherever you want to go. My wife will tell you I talk too much and I can just keep talking. So,
I love that. So last night we were chatting, just to give you guys a little bit of framework. We were chatting about male-female communication. I chatted a little bit about dating and what that kind of looks like now. We had some questions come in around what that looks like in quarantine, what that looks like, just how we learn lessons from that kind of stuff. And some stuff about, you know, our challenging moments in life and how we learn and grow. So I'm thinking maybe we could start there with one of your favorite sentences.
Well, listen, I think that, you know, in life, we all go through stuff, right? We all go through things in our life. And for the most part, you can let whatever happened to you in life, it could help make you better or it'll make you bitter, right? You can choose one or the other. And some people choose to be better. Some people, unfortunately, choose to be bitter. And I think that, you know, we all have to, this is the reality. We all have to grow through what we go through, right? Or we just keep going through it, right? So until you grow through what you go through, you keep reliving the same experience. That's why people say, well, why does this always keep happening to me?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, because you haven't learned the lesson. You know, as the saying goes, life is the cruelest of teachers, because it gives you the test first and the lesson afterwards. But until you pass a test, you're destined to repeat the lesson over and over and over again. So if you want a different outcome, you've got to take a different path, make a different decision. You know, we all know the people, and certainly I grew up with this. Hey, man, what's going on? Oh, same shit, different day.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my response to that now is, I'm sorry, can I help? And it really kind of like throws them like, what do you mean?
Wonderful. So right? you do pattern interrupt.
Yeah, I do a pattern interrupt right away. Like, what? Because, you know, you don't really hear that back from anybody. I said, can I help? And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if you're going through the same shit different day, at least change the shit that you're doing so you can maybe have a different result.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it all goes back to, us having to grow through what we go through. Right. Because otherwise you keep going through it. You keep going through the same shit every single day.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm here to do is help ease suffering in the world, even if it's just one person at a time, by helping people grow through what they go through, right? To turn decades into days and give them a different perspective.
I love that line so much. I think about this when we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, is how this idea of what my version of that is, how do you deal with like a ditch moment, right? So that's a term that I use for a really dark, challenging, difficult moment where you feel like you're in a ditch, or you feel like you've been brought to your knees and universe, everything's gone wrong at the same time. Everything is super overwhelming. And you just you don't know where you're going to turn, how you're going to get out of it. And life is sort of all about putting that process in place of like stepping up and climbing out of your ditch. Right. And when you get out of it, then you're a little bit higher than you were the last time, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, as a human, as a conscious being, than you were the last time you fell into a ditch. Right. So life, it's not about never having those moments. Right. It's about how fast do you pop out of them and where can you learn the lessons. Right. So do you have a particular process in this? Like when you take someone through this pattern stuff, what do you do?
There's a lot of different processes, but I guess one of the things that I want to give you and your listeners and anyone that's listening, and by the way, anybody that's watching this, share this video, help Natalie get this thing exposed and get it started, and tag any of your friends that you think may need to hear this. So one of the things that I say is, when you fall into a ditch, you think that it's over. You think that you've fallen, and why, my goodness, why did I fall? Well, here's a little different perspective that you can look at. Perhaps you fell into the ditch because there was something down there you were meant to find. Right?
Wow.
Sometimes it's something that you fall into a hole because you're meant to find something down there. Sometimes what you find is yourself. Right? And perhaps sometimes you fall into the ditch so that you're protected from something bigger.
That's beautiful.
Right? So it really is about perspective. And when you can shift the perspective of what the meaning is to what you're giving it, then, Tony Robbins says all the time, nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Just like something can happen and there's four people see something, right? And from different perspectives, one's across the street, one's on the other side of the street, one's in front, one's in the back. They all saw the same thing, but they all saw different perspectives.
Totally. Yep.
As an example, this picture went viral. So there's a picture of Prince William saying hi to somebody, right? But from the other side, it looked like he was giving somebody the bird.
You should.
Right?
Yeah.
Same picture, taken from a different angle, and one headline said, "And here's Prince William giving people the finger," and then like right after that, it says, "No, here's the picture from different angles. He was just waving, and it was an optical illusion." Right? So perspective is everything.
It's everything.
So sometimes understanding that maybe what's happening in life, and I believe this to be the reality for the most part, and certainly there's a lot of bad things happening right now. So I'm going to say for the most part, right? For the most part, most of the time, life is happening for you, not to you.
Yeah. Yep. The short preposition, just a one letter to change your whole perspective on that.
That's right. Because again, maybe you fell in, maybe you got that flat tire because had you kept going, you were going to get T-boned by a tractor trailer at the next intersection. Maybe you fell into that ditch because you're going to be protected from something else worse that's going to come. Maybe you fell down now, and maybe your business, you crashed and burned in your business now that you just started and everything else. And maybe the impact was bad, but it was survivable. Whereas maybe if you had gone further down the line, maybe the impact would have been worse. Who knows?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is to change the perspective, because when you change perspective, you change the way you see things. And actually, this is one of my favorite Wayne Dyer lines is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah, I love that line. Mm-hmm. Can you say that one more time just so we can like really resonate with it?
Sure. It's a Wayne Dyer quote. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a really quick exercise. I've never done it on the screen like this. So put your finger out. So everybody follow along. Now, maybe don't look at the screen, because when you look at the screen, it's going to be weird, right? Because everybody knows what going clockwise, right, is, right? Except maybe unless you're like, you're
ridiculous.
No, but listen. So I want you to put your finger out, and I want you to go clockwise, and don't look at the screen because the screen is going to be going counterclockwise.
My finger. Right?
So with your finger, just look at your finger and go clockwise, right? Just keep going clockwise, and now turn up with it. Keep going clockwise. Keep turning your finger, spinning clockwise. I want you to bring it down. Keep going. No. Keep going. Now, keep going clockwise. Don't think about it. And now look down at your finger.
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's not going. It feels like it's going side to side. Oh, wait. Here we go.
What's it doing?
It's just staying steady. What do you mean?
Which way is it going? Is it still clockwise?
No.
It's counterclockwise, isn't it?
Yes.
What did I just do? Did I just mind melt you? Did I melt your finger?
No, it's so weird. What happened?
Okay, so now I want you to keep turning your finger. Keep turning. Don't stop. Now I want you to go back up. Keep spinning. And now look at your finger. Again, how's it going?
It's going the other way.
No.
I go do this one.
Here, do it again.
This
is kind of, I'm not gonna do it on screen so that I don't mess with you, right? So, and you don't look at your screen either. Just look at your finger. I want you to just look at your finger. Don't look at the screen. I want you to just turn your finger clockwise. Go clockwise. Go clockwise, like the hands of the clock. Now I want you to turn it up. Keep spinning it clockwise. Now I want you to bring your arm down. Just keep spinning it clockwise. Don't think about it. And I want you to look at your finger. Now look at your finger. Which way is it going?
It's going the other way.
Okay, now I want you to just keep spinning it. Go back up. And then go back in front. Is it clockwise again?
Yes.
Okay, so what changed?
I guess my perspective on it. Yeah, I don't know. This is bizarre. This is the kind of shit that makes no sense to me.
It's perspective.
Enlighten us. It's perspective. This is bizarre. How did you do this? It's so weird.
I know, but it's perspective. This is kind of like one of those things, one of those simple little tricks, so to speak, that gives you perspective, because nothing changed except the way you were looking at your finger.
Yeah, no kidding. That's wacky. Thank you for that little thing.
Yeah. So here, I'll do another little. Let me see if I can a piece of paper out there somewhere. So I'll do another little thing, right? So check this out.
I love this stuff.
If you look at this, what do you see? Is that a 6 or a 9?
To me, this is a 9.
I'm looking at it. It's a 6.
It's a 9.
You see a 9?
Totally.
It's a 6.
That's a 9.
No, it's a 6.
I don't know. Looks like a 9 to me.
But it's a 6. Who's right?
We're both right. That's so beautiful. I love this.
Technically, I'm the one that's right because I wrote it, but no. But
it's such a simple, beautiful exercise in its simplicity, guys. Like, you got to really get how genius that is in its simplicity.
It's all it is perspective. You're not wrong, but neither am I, because this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a 6.
Right.
You're seeing a 9.
Right.
Doesn't make you wrong. Doesn't make me wrong. We're both right. It's perspective.
That's
and
right.
if you turn it this way, well, then it's kind of like nothing, right? It could be a 6 or a 9. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But the people that are sitting on the other side of it are going to see something else. So, look, it's as simple as, again, just thinking about perspective and looking at things that happen in your life through a different set of lenses. Because so many times we look at things that happen in our lives through the set of lenses that we have, that we've created over the years through the way we were brought up, through the examples of our parents, our teachers, and everything else. Totally. So sometimes what we need to do is we need to clean our lenses, right?
It's so brilliant. This is what I love that you're saying all this, because this is what, and I have to share this with my students, because this is one of the first two classes I talk to them about in the pursuit of happiness. I do this whole exercise where I say, I want you to imagine you put on, like putting on this set of lenses, and I take them through this visualization. And basically the gist of it is what you're saying here is like, I'm standing in front of all of you guys. There's 15 of you here. We're sitting in a circle. I'm wearing the same thing. I'm saying the exact same things to all of you guys right now, in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. But when I finish in 5 minutes, if I went around the room and asked each of you what you took from the last 5 minutes that I spoke, you would each say something totally different. None of you would say the exact same thing, because the lens that you're looking at life through is colored by your family, your experiences, your limiting beliefs, your stuck points, and the what resonates with you is all going to be filtered through that lens. Always, 100% of the time. So you always have to remember that the other person at the other side, and this is why when I teach conscious communication, it's like the other person in this communication situation is seeing life through their lens. And it's all colored based on their shit.
You're right.
And their bad stuff.
Inevitably.
So you never say, oh, if it were me, I would do. You cannot do that. It doesn't make any sense, because they're not you. So they wouldn't do.
Right, but you could, because that's your opinion, and that's the one thing I think that everybody just has to respect people's opinions, and that's one of the other problems that we have in society. We're not going to solve that tonight, but the reality of it is, there's always going to be somebody in the room that thinks it's funny, somebody in the room that's going to get offended, and there's other people in the room that are just indifferent, and basically it's the same exact thing that you've said, so it's just about perspective and just trying to change perspective. As a matter of fact, here's one of the things that I tell some of my clients sometimes to do when they're stuck, when they've got a business proposition, or they're stuck in business, or there's something going on, and I've been fortunate. I've been in several different industries just because I'm more adventurous, I think, than some, but I've got, kind of a mixed bag of experience with different businesses, everything from, real estate, being in the real estate industry for 30 years, every angle of it, from, having my own office, being an agent, having my own office and being a broker, and having agents working for me, and flipping houses and building spec and representing builders and clients, and owning my own residential portfolio, then selling that and having my own commercial portfolio, and contracts with the state and construction company, and equestrian center with 44 stable, with 44 stalls, and bar, restaurant, nightclub, and just all kinds of different things that all of it because I bought the real estate, in fairness. But I've been in a lot of different things. And so I wind up also working with and being a strategist for a lot of different people, for everyone from attorneys to semi-pro baseball player to just, all kinds of different things, right? Executives. And I tell them sometimes, when you're stuck at something and you're working on something you just can't see, I tell them to just literally get up from your desk and go to the other side of the desk and look at the same problem.
Oh, wow.
And then I want you to go to the front of the desk and look back and look at it it's just changing your perspective. Because sometimes just the fact of getting up and changing your physiology changes. You get up, so now you're looking at it from a different angle, from high to low, and you're from a different perspective completely, from being 45 degrees over, 30 degrees over, 90 degrees across, or whatever it is. And more often than not, they can come up to their own conclusion, because sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees because of the angle that we're looking at things, and we're only looking at it from one lane. So many different perspectives you can look at it, from the top, from the bottom, from the sides, So my perspective.
And you have to assess, like, when you're chatting with people and asking for maybe opinions, advice, suggestion on this kind of stuff, like, what is this person, is their perspective coming from a place of love? Is it coming from a place of fear? What is the kind of lens that they're looking at stuff through? Do they actually know? Do they have credibility to kind of give me insight on this? Sometimes I used to get into that issue. Like, I appreciate that you're helping people shift their perspective in such a positive way, because I used to pull people. That was one of the things I would do before I trusted my own gut, my own instinct, my own feelings on things. I would poll a lot of people, and I would ask for advice from a lot of people. And what I was noting in that was, one, I was like discounting my own insight, my own credit, my own credibility, my own trust and intuition. But I was also picking some people that weren't looking at the same, they didn't know, they weren't trying to accomplish the same thing I was trying to accomplish. And they didn't really have any credibility to talk about what they were talking about. Right?
Brilliant point. Actually, I did a talk the other day, not on Tony Talks, but I've also do another video per day. I've committed to doing 366 days of live video. So one for every day of the year. So I'm doing that. And one of the talks that I did the other day is on criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And the line was, don't accept criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from, or you wouldn't go to for advice.
Yeah.
Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, the other thing that I piggybacked on that is stop taking advice from people that have never been where you want to go, and that you're not willing to switch places with. You're not willing to switch places with somebody, don't go to them for advice.
Yeah, totally. Agreed.
You don't go to, your accountant for, legal advice or whatever. I don't know. I was trying to think of an analogy, but you don't go. So unless they have experience, so don't ask anybody for advice that aren't where you want to go, that haven't lived the experience you want to live, and really that don't have the same goals, and they don't have, so because it's difficult, because they're not going to have the right perspective. And many times, I'll tell you this, many times, you go to someone that you love, you respect, and everything else, maybe it's just, living a different life, and sometimes it's our friends that we grew up with or whatever it is. And sometimes they'll give you the advice because out of fear of losing you, out of fear of you outgrowing them. And they don't even realize that they're doing this, but they're sabotaging you at times because they don't want to see you, not that they don't want to see you succeed, but they don't want to lose you from having too much success, or, it's kind of a really strange, it's really kind of strange, but I don't want to go too deep into this rabbit hole because we can go pretty deep.
Totally. So deep. And I think maybe what I could do to circle that back around and get into kind of what conversation we were having a little bit last night too, was really trusting your own intuition and knowing really what you want, and moving from that fear-based place to a love-based place. And understanding that you can trust and accept like your own, because we really do kind of know, I'm going to share this with you because I don't remember if I told you this today. I don't think I told you this story, and it'll be a quick one, but I think it will be right up your alley, but it might give some people some insight. I know you love to kind of share things through stories. So might give some people some insight how a limiting belief can be created. Does that feel good to you if I share this?
Sure.
So I had this belief until I was about 33 or 34 that I didn't make decisions easily, that it took a lot of effort for me to make decisions, and that I didn't trust myself making decisions, and that I had to poll a lot of people to figure stuff out. And so I spent a lot of time, and my mentor made me more aware of this, a couple of mentors of mine. But basically, this is kind of how I came to that belief. And this is how inner child stuff works. And this is how beliefs work. And Tony is going to be able to shed a lot of light on this. I think this will be like a great place for you to just jump in. So when I was 9, this is a quick story, but it's a long time ago. When I was 9 years old, my mom picked me up on a Christmas break, like the day before Christmas break. I was in 4th grade, and I had my favorite teacher was 4th grade teacher. And I had a very special connection with this woman. And it was the day before Christmas, and it was our Christmas party. And my mom was trying to do a really cool mom thing. She never did this kind of stuff because she never took me out of school. She was like very strict about school. And she came early to take me out on that day because she wanted me to have an early day. And she came during the Christmas party. And I said, thank you. It was really cool for her to do, but I don't want to leave because it's a Christmas party. It's my favorite teacher, and I don't want to miss out on the Christmas party. And she was like, okay, cool. She was totally fine with it. A couple minutes later, Christmas party ends, and I end up in the class I hate the most, gym class. And I am sitting in freaking gym class. Now, I'm the kind of kid, and I would still do this to this day, that lets people knock me out at dodgeball so I don't have to play in gym class. Like I hated gym class, okay? Nobody that's watching this is surprised. I sat for that entire gym class shaming myself for making my mom feel bad because she did something nice for me, and because I made the wrong decision and I missed out on going home with her. And now I'm in gym and I hate freaking gym. And I made the wrong decision. And I beat myself up for that. And I remember it, like I viscerally remember that. And I have replayed that moment in my life so many times. It is the FOMO situation that makes up half my life. That is a real challenge for me. So the thing that's gotten me out of that loop most of the time, I still struggle with a little bit, is how much I meditate, my spiritual, and really making decisions by myself without asking for a bunch of help all the time. This comes on the heels of me texting you this morning and asking for your insight, but it was a different energy around it than it would have been 4 years ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And when you're ready to shift that, I can help you shift that, by the way.
Okay. Well, I'm sharing it and I'm open to shifting. I just shared it with everybody. So it's like, I feel like this is right up your alley. This is like the stuff you're brilliant at.
Yeah, that is actually something that I like to, that I work with people all the time, is that very thing. One of the things I share with people is that, so there's something called the CPH, which is changing your personal history, which again, I may be able to do that with you now if you choose to, or we can do this offline. The reality of it is we never want to eliminate a memory. I wish I never remember that again, or I wish that. You never want to delete a memory. All you want to do is remove the emotional charge behind it.
Yes.
Right? So that when you think about it, it doesn't give you anxiety. When you think about it, it doesn't make you nervous. When you think about it, it doesn't scare you, or it doesn't give you whatever emotion that comes with it. Because some people think back of something and they just completely lose it, right?
Yeah.
They have a visceral reaction. They get a stomach ache, they get headaches, they get the shakes, because obviously there's a lot of people that went through a lot of bad shit, right? So some people just completely close up. But it's not a good idea to just say, oh, just forget about it, where you're having a frontal lobotomy, so to speak, and get rid of the memory, because then you lose the lesson. Now, maybe there isn't a lesson, except, and we were talking yesterday about how knowing what you don't want. I think we spoke about this yesterday. Yeah. It's important to know what you don't want and know what you won't accept and what you won't tolerate. So you never want to forget something, because you don't want to make that same mistake again, right? Because you make the mistake once, it's a mistake. Twice, it's a mistake. Third time, it's a choice. So it's kind of really important to remember that.
Yeah.
So, but the way to unwind that is to really go back and empower that little girl and let her know that everything's okay, that everything's going to be okay. So it's a closed-eye process, and I don't want to take. I promise I'll take you through it another time, later, tomorrow, whatever it is, because it's going to take a little bit of time and closed eyes, and it's going to bore people. I don't want to put anybody to sleep. It's definitely something that I can help you with, without a doubt.
And the practice, I would love that. That would be amazing. The practice is called what? What did you say it was?
Changing personal history. It's going back and changing that memory, right? Or removing the emotional, the emotional charge behind it. Right? You don't want to forget it, right? Because it taught you something.
Yeah.
But you want to remove that emotional charge. So when you go think back about it, you don't get anxious. Right now, if you think about it, you probably get a little anxious about it. Am I wrong?
I have done so much work, right? Like, as we both have, I've done this work for 10 years. So there's certain things where I know exactly what you're saying. And this is some of the stuff I help people through, is like, I know that belief does not have a negative charge. There's certain ones, but there's still two that I struggle with, where I still I'm like, oh, you're doing that thing again. And the beautiful thing is, though, when you have awareness around, it's not a blind spot anymore, right? So it's in front of you. So you can be like, wait, I've been here before. I've felt this before. It sits in my heart. It has this thing. It does this thing. The whole Tony Robbins thing talks about in your body physiology. And you're like, okay, got it. I'm aware enough to know that I'm doing that thing I do right now.
Well, listen, a really good friend of mine, Joseph McClendon. I don't know if you know who Joseph McClendon is. So he's a really good friend of mine, and he's been on my show several times. And he has something that he calls a stop technique. Stop technique is first, and you can do this when you're going through it, but really you almost want to elicit that emotion before you're going through it. But let's say that you're going through an episode and you catch yourself and you recognize, hey, I caught myself doing this. Awesome. You know, you celebrate the fact that you caught yourself, because awareness is everything, right? So you catch yourself, you stop.
Yeah.
So you stop yourself, you celebrate, you stop yourself, you change that emotion, you celebrate, right? You give your body that boost of oxytocin or whatever other chemical, feel good chemical, so that you're almost negating that bad feeling. You catch yourself going down that negative path, that negative thought pattern. You stop yourself, you celebrate. You know, he talks about, you know, shake that ass and celebrate. That's what he does all the time. He says, catch yourself, smile, celebrate, you know.
Oh, I love this. So you stop yourself in the middle when you catch it, when you're like, oh,
right. And you're like, yes, I caught myself. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
And you celebrate yourself for catching it, and you smile. So you're putting something positive on top of the negative.
That's beautiful. Right? Repatterning and
repatterning. And that way, you know, when you reward yourself for going into a negative state, because we all know when we're going into negative states, and if we stop ourselves, and we don't have to go down the rabbit hole. Because the further we go down the rabbit hole, the further the climb back up always is.
Totally.
That costs us in business and relationships and everything else.
Totally. And it's like, for me, it's understanding too, like, what is the emotion? I don't know. You can tell me what you think about this, but I think there's certain, you know, when we look at the map of consciousness, have you ever paid attention to the map of consciousness? I'm sure.
Yeah. Levels of consciousness.
Yeah. Levels of consciousness.
Dynamics. Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of just like this. Yeah. So, you know, there's these fear-based emotions that move up, and you can explain it more.
Beige, purple, red, blue, orange, green, yellow, and turquoise.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. So, I'll post a link of it if you guys are interested, but it's so brilliant because you can go like, okay, I know that emotions fall in these one of two buckets, right? We're coming from a fear-based place, or we're coming from a love-based place. There's tons of words, tons of labels for different emotions. But
I'll give you two of the labels that go with that. Love and fear. It would be scarcity and abundance. That'll actually work really well with what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I always go like, I feel like my patterns, my stuck points, my triggers, they all kind of land in the same bucket of fear-based emotions and that consciousness. Like, I don't feel anger a lot. I feel more like if I'm in a fear-based place, it's more like a depression or like a regret. But like it's that kind of emotion, which is those are different levels. Right.
And I want you to equate that to scarcity, right? Because if you think about what scarcity is, that means you missed out on something. You lost something. You're afraid of losing something. You're afraid of losing someone, losing the opportunity, making a mistake, judgment.
Yeah.
Right. Where on the other side of that, where you have love, where you have happiness, where you have joy, you have abundance. And knowing that there's always going to be more, that there's going to be more opportunity, that there's more possibility than there is fear of loss. Right? There's always, it's the yin and yang, the black and white, the light and dark. You know, there's always those two sides. But the cool thing is that you really can't have one without the other. You need that contrast of the two, which is okay. The minute you recognize that it's okay, then it's okay. When you recognize that it's okay to feel sad, it's okay. It's just not okay to stay there.
Right.
Because sadness leads to depression, leads to, you know, whatever.
Yep.
Right? It's just not okay to stay there. It's okay to feel emotions. Our emotions are there for a reason. They're there to signify and to tell us that something needs our attention.
That's right.
Our relationship, our health, whatever it is. If you're in your kitchen, you lean over and, you know, and you just lean over on the stove and you keep talking and you felt no pain, you'd get third-degree burns and may have to amputate a couple of fingers.
Yeah.
So pain is there to tell you to take your hand the hell off the stove. Right? Pain is an indicator. Fear, in many cases, is also an indicator for something for you to watch out for, or to pay attention to something. So, I'm going to give you a really quick hack on when you can't make a decision on something. I tell this to people all the time. All right, this is easy. You ready? It's really technical. Right? You ready to take notes? All right. So when you have a really tough decision to make and you really don't know which way to go, reach in your pocket. You take out a coin and you flip the coin.
Okay. And you see where it lands?
No. Here's the reason. Tell me one time that you played a game of flip the coin and you picked heads or tails. What do you usually pick, heads or tails?
I do heads, yeah.
Heads. So you pick heads. and the coin, as soon as the coin flips, you're like heads, 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 heads.
Right. Yeah, you
Right?
do.
So
Yeah.
when you flip a coin, and whether you pick heads or tails, if you pick heads and it's something you really want to do, and tails something you really don't want to do, or vice versa, you flip and automatically your mind says, "Oh, I hope it's this." That's the right answer.
That's I love that.
Your gut instinct, right?
Yep.
That's your guardian angel, your gut instinct. That's your instinct telling you what, or at least your heart telling you which way to go. Is it going to work out? Who the heck knows?
Right.
But that's probably the right decision for you at the time, because some people know what decision it is that they want to make and that they need to make, but they're just too afraid to make it because they don't want to be responsible for the consequences.
That's right. I love that. And I always do, like, what I started doing, and I think meditation supports so much of this. Like, the first time that I meditated, it consistently was after a Tony Robbins event. I went twice in 2017. I had started meditating in 2013, but I got into a real habit of it in 2017 after a UPW. And when I am trying, it's similar to the heads and tails thing. I just kind of try to breathe into my heart, and I just see where my body leans. Like, is it a yes or a no? And wherever I kind of lean, that's how I get into my gut on it, and I try to tap into that space. And I know it. Like, I know whether it's a yes or a no. It's exactly like, I mean,
you want another one?
Yeah.
You want another little trick?
Mm-hmm.
It's a muscle test, right?
Right. Yeah.
You're familiar with muscle testing?
A bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I think it's usually it's done a bigger way, but I think you can do it with your fingers as well. So, and just even if you just go, using these fingers like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, say I want you to put your fingers together, and I want you to say your name. Say, "My name is Natalie," and try to pull your fingers apart.
Am I doing these ones?
Or whatever. Just do these for sake. So I want you to say your name and say, what's your name?
My name is Natalie.
Okay, now I want you to try to pull your fingers apart when you say, "My name is Natalie." Pull them apart. Okay.
Yeah, they're strong, steady.
Okay. Now I want you to say, "My name is George," and pull them apart.
There's no.
Right?
George, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Right?
Because there is power. That's like muscle testing. Maybe George is a bad example, but say, "My name is Paula." Or now say again, "My name is Natalie."
My name is Natalie.
Right? So it's muscle testing. So you can say, okay, should I take this position? Should I make this decision? Right. And when you pull, if you pull and it breaks, then it's probably a no. That's your gut instinct telling you no. If, should I have, you can do this with all kinds of crazy stuff because we're more intuitive than we know. We're more energy than we know, as you know, right? Wow. You can do it with things. You can figure out what you're allergic to by just holding something in your hand and, doing the muscle test, and your body will tell you energetic. Anyway, not to get it. That's another rabbit hole that we probably couldn't go into right now. But so there's a lot of different things. So yeah, you can muscle test or certainly just flip a coin because you already know what it is, which way you want to go. You're just afraid to make the decision. So let fate. Oh wait, no, I don't need fate because you flip the coin. You don't even have to look at it whether it landed on heads or tails.
Yeah, you know.
The minute it leaves your thumb, or however you flip the coin, the minute the coin leaves your hand, you know what the decision is that you want to make. Yeah.
Yep. I agree. That is true for most of the time.
Yeah. And the other thing that I will tell you is what's the most important conversation you'll ever have any day of your life? With who?
Yourself.
With yourself.
Right? Always, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So before, when you were saying that you're bad at making decisions, or the words that we speak become the house we live in.
That was the belief I had.
Right. The belief you had. So when I'm saying that to other people that are watching, not necessarily to you, but the words we say become the house we live in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. So our words have so much power.
Oh my God.
And so we've got to be careful. They as the saying goes, I forget who said it. You got to put a watch over your mouth, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning you've got to watch the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Because your subconscious is listening, especially the words you say to yourself.
Absolutely. I tell them. What's that?
It's so important. You can either empower or disempower yourself. You can be your own best friend, your own worst enemy. Listen, nobody can hurt you like you can hurt you.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody can hurt you like you can hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And the words that you put behind I am too, right?
yeah.
Students,
Yeah.
I'm a bad writer.
Yeah, the two most powerful words in any language is I am. Yo soy, yo soy, yo soy. I am. Because the words that follow I am follow you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like just to sort of framework it on all the stuff that we're saying, I always like to try and do this for people. I know you do too, is like assessing the emotion, right? Assessing it, acknowledging it, and then shifting it in a number of ways that we just said. But even as simple as like what you said with your exercise with McClendon, Joseph.
Joseph,
Okay, he's acknowledged it, assessed it, acknowledged it, and then gets fun about it, right? Practices being basically shifting your energy, getting into high vibration space, moving your body, your physiology, making yourself smile, making yourself move. These kinds of things that you really should award yourself for when you're not just letting yourself go down the rabbit hole and get into one of those negative-based, fear-based places.
Yeah. So there's so many little things. There's so many little tips and strategies that we can talk about getting into one thing or another. But I think it's it's just important to just remember. And I think one of the most two of the most important things is, number one is awareness, right? Being aware and looking at things as they are, not worse than they are, not better than they are, but awareness, right? And if you have a blockage, you have a weakness, you have something where you need to work on or need to improve, just being aware that you have a challenge is number one. And then the other thing is just really changing perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Changing your perspective on how you look at things and how you look at things that happened in your past. And, the reality of it is we are all a compilation of our life's experiences, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly.
Yeah, I love
especially the ugly, because again, you've heard it before. The days that make you are the days that the days that break you, or the days that break you are the days that make you.
Yep.
Right. And because those are the ones that are really building your character and create who you really are.
Yeah.
And those bad moments teach you what it is that you don't want. Those bad people, how not to be to other people. Those bad, the people, the way you're treated, teach you how you don't want to be treated. Right.
Yep.
And it's important to recognize that the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how